It's me. It's me. I created something called the small cap challenge. Now, I'm not challenging anybody, but just sounds more fun. I used a stock screener. And what I did is I took any company that fit within the small cap criteria. Then I limited it to companies that are based in North America, specifically in the United States. I limited it to companies that had a certain amount of revenue. And I think that was it. But it gave me a little under 400 small cap companies from pretty much, well, no, they come from every single sector and industry that you can imagine. Now, if I set it up that way, I would probably be inclined to go ahead and, only look at the areas that are in my circle of competence or that are just in my circle of curiosity. Typically I'm not really interested in like a materials company. But to combat that and to make this a little bit more interesting, because frankly, anytime I open up a random 10K, I usually learn something kind of interesting. It's just getting myself to open a random one. So I created a random number set and I put the random number next to each company. I sorted it in order from lowest to highest. And now I'm going through it that way. Let me show you what I have actually. So this is what some of the first companies here. Obviously, you see the order. Steelcase Inc. was the first one I looked at. Now, I had no idea what Steelcase Inc. was. Literally no idea. It turns out it's actually kind of a cool company. So they have a comprehensive portfolio of furniture and architectural products and services designed to help customers create workplaces to help reach their full potential at work. Now, the reason I think this is interesting, or at least initially why I thought it was interesting, is because in this whole like hybrid, work setup thing that some people are for, some are against, I'm curious how their business is adapting to this. Because as I found out, Steelcase was actually founded in 1912. So this company's been around. Now, the website, I like to go to the websites because, well, I like the internet. The reason I like this, by the way, is because it just kind of put a face to a name. So Steelcase Inc., I was actually kind of impressed. I was like, well, looks pretty nice. Very modern, very clean, kind of minimalist. Anyway, so I have a notepad that I'm going to be going through, not in this video, but in my own process where I'll be adding, things I think are interesting. I'm not doing this like it's not a school assignment. I'm doing it for me. And I'm doing it because anytime that I read a new 10K, it expands my mind. I become more aware of the world around me. And I find that those little nuggets that I pick up along the way, somehow down the road, I make new connections that I never would have made had I not read that. And I think this exercise or this project, if we want to call it that, as I check in with you about it over the next, I would imagine several weeks or maybe even several months, maybe several years, I think I'll be able to show you without trying to show you, the effect that this has. The other reason I'm doing this and why I want to make this public is not because, I think you need to see my face and hear me talk about small cap companies. We believe. It's because that I want to encourage, with this platform that I'm building here, thanks to you, I want to make sure people are aware of 10Ks in the first place. Not just because you can learn a lot about different companies from them, but because if you're, investing in individual stocks, you have to crack open the 10Ks. That's a requirement, but it's a requirement that no one tells you is required. To be a responsible investor, you need to do your due diligence. And that would go for, a company you're buying a piece of or a company you're buying all of. And since we're talking about pieces of businesses or stocks, well, the 10K is, part of the due diligence process. And I'm excited to kind of show that and follow my curiosity. So anyway, let's look at a few companies together, then we'll wrap this up. But the next one that came up was Emergent Biosolutions. They develop and manufacture and deliver protections against public health threats. And I think like one of their products is for anthrax. It's good these companies exist, but it's kind of like it's kind of a dose of reality that I didn't necessarily want to take right now, but it is what it is. Let's read about this company. And I'm not saying this makes up for the 10K. I'm just curious while I'm here. Okay. Innovative vaccines and therapeutics. For over 20 years, we've been at work defending people from things we hope will never happen. I like that. That's actually really, the marketer in me is coming out. I love that because that simple line of copy, a company like this has to deal with the perception that, like you want a new, pandemic so you can make a vaccine for it. I like that they say we're defending people from things we hope will never happen so that we're prepared just in case they ever do. That's really, whoever is doing this marketing, well done. Let's go back to the 10K. It says we are a global life sciences company focused on providing innovative preparedness and response solutions. Okay, we get it. Our revenues are derived from a combination of sales. I wonder if they have any government contracts. Yep. 3 business lines are the government. Let's see what percentage of their business is the government. Kind of curious. Someone watching this just throws up. Look, you're scrolling so fast. Ugh. Okay. Total revenues. Dude, it's really weird to see anthrax vaccines down there. I don't know. I was fairly young when that happened, but that was a scary time. I think Tom Brokaw got someone sent him a letter with it. Show me the revenues. Boom. I want to see it by line of business here, guys. Concentration risk. Okay. What is the USG? Now, what I'm seeing here is they have a considerable concentration of revenue. So the USG, which I'm going to find out what that is, accounted for approximately, looks like 2021, 50% of their revenues. That's a lot. I don't think it's this. There we go. USGS. That has to be it. Okay. Contracts and grants. All right. I don't want to bore you as I go through this, but let's move on to 2 more companies here. Let's see what we got. I've got Sally Beauty Holdings. And I told you, this process of doing the random thing, I would typically scan over this. I'm like, I don't want to look at Sally Beauty Holdings, but let's do it. Okay. International specialty retailer. One of the largest distributors of professional beauty supplies in the US based on store count. Now, I'm not a big fan of lots of store count because the trend is people are closing stores. Oh, interesting. Largest networks of distributor sales consultants. We provide customers with a variety of leading third-party branded and owned branded professional beauty supplies, including hair color. That's offensive. Styling tools, skin and nail care, and other beauty items. Over 80% of net sales come from the US. This is interesting. The breadth, depth, and professional quality of our hair color and hair care. Hold on. I thought I heard something. Provides us with a differentiated core business in an industry which is otherwise fragmented. Had no idea about that. Due to our long presence in the category, our brand heritage, our product and process-specific knowledge, and our training of associates, we provide unmatched hair color and hair care expertise to consumers. I love 10Ks, man. We also have strong positioning with suppliers, given our focus and our economies of scale of purchasing. Now, just because they say they have economies of scale, always verify, but I'm not saying they're lying, but you don't just feel like, well, they've got economies of scale. So, that's check that box. Because we service retail and professional consumers, our customers through a variety of channels, we're able to reach a broad, diversified geographies and customer segments. Great. Okay. What's their strategy? And really the strategy for any business, it's always towards the top. And it's really interesting. That's where some of the connections click. You start to get a sense of what the bigger kind of macro trends are. Okay, they want to empower our customers to express themselves through hair. I'm very offended by this. This is really making me mad. I'm gonna call it a night. Our strategy is to be the expert in hair color and hair care for the consumer and salon professional. We emphasize hair color and hair care through our strategic product assortment and compelling customer experiences, while also focusing on okay, great. Our focus, okay, they have a sales force. Stores are conveniently located. Interesting. We continue to expand our selection of textured hair products, including over 50 Black founded brands and other innovation in the nails category. So this is something, if you're not aware, there's, from people that I know that were affected by this, there's been a gap or a void for people of color to find things like, for example, makeup, or it sounds like here, textured hair products, it's just not as, there's just not as much availability of products. And so, brands that are investing in this, and, I think they're building up a lot of goodwill and loyalty, among a very powerful, group of people. I don't mean just by race. I mean, just people that are like, hey, I need this. No one's been able to offer it to me. And then a company makes an effort. That's the way you start to establish that relationship, which can, bring out loyalty. And that's something that as investors, ideally, we want companies that have, large, growing, loyal customer bases. Okay. Now I would go deeper, but as I said, I don't want to make this like a whole boring video. I want to just give you a taste. Um, Interesting to see that e-commerce is shrinking for them, but these are questions. So when I'm going through a 10K, I'm not even thinking, oh, I want to invest in this business. I'm just curious. So right now I'm curious, why has their e-commerce segment been falling off? Is there anything to that? See their marketing. All backed by our love it or return it. We believe that the recent initiatives have differentiated to achieve a high return. This is why I have a business. Let's check out their website. Like I said, I like to put a face to a name. Sally. Hey, Sally. Okay, cool. Interesting here how they're using first party data. Okay. Let's look at one more here and then we'll wrap this up. This one is called Hydric and Struggles, which that actually did jump out at me. And I was like, struggles? What's this all about? Let's find it. Okay. Hydric and Struggles is a human capital leadership advisory firm. I just think that's very long winded, providing executive search, consulting, and on demand talent services to businesses and business leaders worldwide. Okay. How long have they been around for? Sounds like 1999. They do executive search, which, that's actually, very important to a lot of businesses. What else do they do though? I'm curious how they're differentiated because, a lot of times I would imagine it's the recruiters. So it's kind of like, do you have a good sales force? Okay. They also do on-demand talent. They acquired Business Talent Group, a market leader in sourcing high-end on-demand independent talent. Interesting. It's kind of like, this segment represents less than 10%. Then they have consulting. Our tools and experts use data and technology to bring science to the art of human capital development and organizational design. Okay. I'm curious how this is, the revenue's broken up. Executive search. Okay. So executive search is definitely the dominant thing. Clients in marketing. Yeah. How do people find out about them? See, look at this though. No single client accounted for more than 1% of our total net revenue in 2021. That is that's a buffer. If things go bad, you don't have to worry about one company or one client rather walking away. And then the business is like, oh, and not saying they can't recover or get more clients, but it's like, that's going to very much alter any projections you had about future earnings, at least in a short time period. Our top 10 clients in aggregate accounted for approximately 6% of our net revenue. Okay. What is this? This is interesting to me. They have something called Culture Connect, and that's some sort of technology platform that helps shape company culture. Interesting. You hear, company culture is important. I don't know if this is something companies need, but culture is one of those qualitative factors that does count for something. Culture Connect. Is this it? I guess you don't serve anybody because it won't work. There we go. This can't be it. Swagger Jackers, competition. Yeah, it's very competitive. See, they will tell you who their competitors are. And that's important because even if they're not publicly traded, you want to be aware of what competitors are doing. And you want to have as much information about them as possible because, as investors, we benefit when the companies we own pieces of become the dominant players in their category. That's a fact. The companies that deliver rewards to us as investors are those that, are have an advantage, have a measurable competitive advantage that translates into, a marginal advantage, meaning that they're making more money than their competitors. They're more profitable. They're making, more people happy and they're bringing in more money and they're run better. It's a really, kind of freestyle way to explain it, but you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, here's something that, I typically want to avoid in a business is relatively few barriers to entry. And here, this is interesting. We believe that the segment of executive search that in which we compete in is more quality sensitive than price sensitive. So they're saying, look, our customers are willing to pay a primo. And I think that's probably makes sense to me because for a senior level executive, especially for a Fortune 100 company, they're not tripping over like the 30% fee they have to pay to the recruiter. They want the best effing person in the building. Seasonality. There is no discernible seasonality. I guess people need good people all the time. This is good. It's gender diversity. I think that's good. From a PR standpoint, people like stuff like that. I don't. You can let my sisters know that. I'm just only for YouTube, guys. You cannot cancel me. I'm just trying material, but they have diversity. Okay, so they're definitely a forward thinking company. They're not going to run into any sort of like, hey, we noticed it's like 20 years from now, like every one of your company is white. That's good. They're with the times. And that's probably in part because look, other companies, meaning every company to some extent has mandates to be more inclusive, to be, more diversity oriented. And I think that's a good thing personally. But since that's the case, it only makes sense that the recruiter company, which has interactions with all these different businesses, would reflect that. And these companies are looking for, they're not just looking for, okay, we'll come back. American Eagle, I'm going to skip for the purpose of this video. Let's look at two more, but at random. How about, let's look at Universal Corp. Like, how is a tobacco company? Like, that doesn't even work nowadays. Like, am I going to want to take a shower after I read this? Universal Corp. By the way, the CMQ Investing podcast is on Apple and Spotify. If you haven't followed that yet, I just published episode 110 today. So check that out if you haven't had a chance. Okay, the business. We are a global business to business agri product supplier to consumer product manufacturers. Okay, so let's talk about the tobacco. I'm looking for the tobacco. There we go. Our principal focus since our founding in 1918 has been tobacco. Now, me personally, I'm not judging anyone else, but I would not want to invest in this business because I think the companies that have products that are bad for people, I don't think that's sustainable over a long time period. And I'm only interested in a business that, can compound over a long time period. So they say they're the leading global leaf tobacco supplier. Okay, but we're going to learn about tobacco here. That's for sure. This is hilarious to me. Wait do you see what I'm skipping ahead and reading? Okay. Recognizing that leaf tobacco is a mature industry, we've been positioning our company for the future by investing in and strengthening our plant-based ingredients platform. They're embracing our plant-based ingredients platform. They acquired Shank's Extracts, a specialty ingredient, botanical extract and flavoring company, bottling and packaging capabilities. They have Fruit Smart. What are these companies? So they've been on a buying splurge. Fruit Smart. What are they doing with this? Sorry, I don't even know which one I'm in. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. I'll get rid of these. That's why you don't multitask. Okay. We generated holy moly, 2.1 billion. I say holy moly because it's a small cap, not because I just didn't expect that. Okay. Additional information. We'll look at that. What products do they make? Or at least do they supply things to so that other companies can make them? Here's what they say are their key operating principles that provide good financial returns and enhance shareholder value. Strategic market position. We work closely with both our customers and our suppliers to ensure that we deliver a product that meets our customers' needs. What's their needs? Let's smoke. While cultivating a strong, sustainable supplier base, we balance product purchases. Okay, great. Strong local management, super compliant products. Great. Diversified sources. Okay. And then financial strength. Here we go. We generate our revenues from product sales, packed tobacco that we source, from processing fees for tobacco by third brand. Okay. Sales to our largest customers, with whom we have longstanding relationships, have accounted for more than 60% of our revenues of each of the past 3 fiscal years. Tobacco operations are seasonal. Customers. Okay, here we go. Here we go. A material part of our tobacco business is dependent on a few customers. Our largest customers are Altria Group, British American Tobacco, China Tobacco International, Imperial Brands, Japan Tobacco, Philip Morris International, and Swedish Match AB. Those customers account for 60% of our consolidated revenues for each of the past 3 fiscal years. So, if you're someone who is going to consider this business, you have to think, okay, their success is tied to the continued success of those companies that we just read or just mentioned. They say here the loss or substantial reduction in business from any of these customers could have a material adverse effect on our results. They say that we have longstanding relationships with all these customers. So I would never, by the way, I have no interest in investing in this company, as I mentioned, but I would be curious if I was thinking about this. I'd be curious to see how all those companies, or at least the ones that I can find data like this on, how they've been doing. Because, if they're teetering off somehow, that would not reflect well for this business. So it would give me another indicator of, something I can use to potentially gauge future earnings. Competition. Who are their competitors? Okay. Let's look at their website. What is it called? Universal Corp? Internet website. Nice. Oh, we work on that, guys. Not secure. Well, they don't care about this stuff. About us. Yeah, look, I'm not saying people that are in this business are bad people. Like, could have just been born in this industry, but it's just something very outdated about this. One more. I'm gonna see this how fun this is. How about, but Six Flags? You know what? I think we've gone too far. Or should we go one more? I think we need one more. You know what? Let's cut it here. I'll put this on YouTube. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to mess around with this format more. But once again, thank you for watching. Hope you'll subscribe. My name is Chris Franco. We'll talk soon.